I think in general, Junkrat is incredibly good on the first defense, and Pharah isn't necessarily better than running the Junkrat, but in one hero limit, I think running Pharah and Junkrat, that makes a lot more sense, because Pharah does have points that she's good. I just don't think Pharah is good enough to the point where you say, we're gonna run her in place of the Junkrat. And by the way, full apologies here if you hear all sorts of crazy weather in the background. It is storming where I'm at. Hopefully that'll be the end of it and not the stream crashing down in a fiery strike of lightning. So there you have it.
All right, well, defensively, where's going to be single builder here? It is Kai actually running the Symmetra. Grego is on one of those DPSs in Junkrat, aka Trash Mouse. Reaver will be running defensive Pharah. Adam, of course, the kind of single support, though they are running a Symmetra. He'll be, of course, on Mercy. Shortfor is going to hold down the Cafe as Soldier 76, and Debit on trusty old Reinhardt.
All right, take a look here at the offense coming out from the side of Gale Force. It's going to be Harblue on the Roadhog, Nicholas on the Pharah, Torque on Zarya, JKW on the Reinhardt, Joe Meister on Lucio, and Shake going to be repping the Mercy.
Commence combat operations.
Grego being able to flex on the Junkrat, just like he was able to do on Widow, is going to be able to help Cloud9 immensely in these lineups.
Yeah. Well, we're far past the stage where you can only be a Lucio main. You have to have other heroes in your kit to be valuable to your team. You've seen a lot of Lucios actually kind of off-classing now onto Junkrats and different things like that, and you have to, just because single support is completely viable in a lot of situations.
And of course, we're having a lot of focus on both the Pharah and the Junkrat, but in the back, we also have Surefour on the 76, and he is someone that they are going to have to deal with right away. And in fact, that is who Nicholas is going for, but not to a whole lot of effect, as C9 just mopping up the Gale Force team as they went in. The engage wasn't necessarily as decisive as it should have been, and as a result, Gale Force is going to be sent back to the beginning, and they will have charged up all of C9's ults for the most part.
I mean, they went all in with that strategy, right? They sent in their Pharah and Mercy. They gave him the shield from the Zarya, and just was unable to hit rockets in the backside. Adam, of course, staying alive. It's what he's best at.
Debit right now going to be looking for the early Earth Shatter if he can get it. JKW won't have it up for a little bit. But the offense right now deciding to go around the flank. This is where they can either go fully around or they can go high ground. They are deciding to go fully around. And Debit now having to wait for the opportunity to drop the Earth Shatter. JKW has a shield up. We'll bring it back down, but here comes the charge. JKW going to go down. And now Debit fully open to drop an Earth Shatter. There it is! And Zarya going to eat the hammer instead.
Well, Kaikai's got his teleporter down. It is in the very typical Cloud9 spot up a mile away on second roof. It's one that they're able to do. We've seen other teams try and fail at it, but they like being able to reinforce not only for first or second. It's what Slasher talks about too, that even when you lose, they're going to come through the teleporter just to set up on their second point defense, not necessarily hold first.
So defense of C9 still holding in strong. They do have Res up. They have Tac Visor. A lot of tools here for this next fight. I think a lot here for the offense is going to depend on JKW landing good Earth Shatter. They might get a Graviton mid-fight. We'll see if they use it in that way, but both Reinhardt's going to charge into each other. JKW down to 130 HP, but the offense getting 3 kills to start this out. We'll see if it's enough. The teleporter, though, for Kaikai is still up, so if Reaver can stall for at least a little bit, reinforcements should be able to come in sooner rather than later.
And Nicholas doesn't see it. He flew over. I think he was looking for it, but he doesn't find it. That's going to allow the entire Cloud9 team to have a chance to get on the phone.
Oh, a beautiful Graviton by Torque. Torque having a gem of the last 30 seconds, king, kill after kill. C9, though, is starting to get back on top of the point. We'll see it's enough as the tire going to run Shake over. Grego finding his opportunity and striking.
Not only did Nicholas miss that teleporter, but Harblue missed his jump to get up to the teleporter, too. 4 people came in because he missed his Winston jump before he was able to clean up that telly. 2 mistakes are allowed the defense to actually hold here when they should not have.
Thanks.
So C9 hanging in there here thus far. They might have to hold for another minute 49 or so. But things going well nonetheless. Here comes the offense of Gale Force, so trying to make things happen. Both Reinhardts charging into each other again. Keeps happening this way. Nicholas does take out Debit. Reaver in the back as the Pharah still has the barrage up, waiting for the right opportunity. Is going to go to the back, has Torque in his sights and just uses barrage to blow him up. Nicholas is going to be in the crossfire as well. Double kill for Reaver, but the offensive Gale Force able to clear a lot of people out. Resurrection coming in, and they might take this point yet.
Yeah, Harblue just destroyed everyone in that room. He got a triple kill on his Winston in Primal Rage, which is kind of rare. He just punched everyone to death against those walls. Really nice play, and able to take this first point is Gale Force.
I think that wasn't bad defense from C9, though. They definitely held out for a while. The big question here is Gale Force going to be able to come in on the top and actually take control of this rooftop stage? Which, if they do, it's huge for the offense, but it does look like C9 was able to get up there in time. Sure, for taking out Nicholas, they will be able to control the roof, and as a result, they will be able to control the engagements here in the streets phase.
Yeah, Dev did a pretty good job of getting to Saloon right after they lost the first point, and then since then Cloud9 has been able to take top control. It is going to be up to Nicholas to do work. Nicholas has his ult. They don't have a Zarya to combo anything in, so it's going to be just really on him, on Mercy Fire versus Mercy Fire straight up. Who's going to win that?
Rerun defense was able to take out Torque, but here comes Lucio speed boost, and Surefour going in with the tactical visor is going to mow down JKW and Nicholas with the help of Reaver and Kai, and the offense just needs to roll back, not chain extra deaths here. And C9, pretty good engagement, and they'll just reset back on the rooftops.
I mean, some nice ultimates to work with here on offense, as nearly everyone has it except for a Hardblue. They're going to be able to initiate with Soundbird or use it after a resurrection, but really, I mean, this site, and if they can force an engagement on the ground, I think it'd be great for them as they can get an Earth Shatter going.
Thanks for the assist.
Kaikai's Roadhog has made it very difficult for Nicholas to get in the air.
And
Coming over the top, Reaver was able to take out Nicholas. Nicholas was looking for the barrage, was not able to get it. Meanwhile, Torque with the tac visor, able to mow down 3 here. Lucio with a little bit of support, and now Resurrection coming out here for the offense. See if they can turn this in their favor, but certainly looking good here thus far. Barrage coming in from Nicholas. They wasn't able to get off the first time. Going to take out the Roadhog and more. And Gale Force, after a little bit of trouble, might be getting to this next checkpoint on Hollywood.
Yeah, perfectly timed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they do get to the point here that's going to move spawns a little bit forward. Reaper is in all alone. I'm not entirely sure what he's going to try to get done here. Absolutely nothing as he gets cleaned up by Joe. Hardblue's had himself a nice last minute or so as well, and he's got Primal Rage.
Let's keep it moving.
I think Gale Force here, just given the fact that they start out in such a time deficit, they really need to win this next fight. I think for them, their best chance of winning this map is if they get through in the next push. Not because they can't get through in another push after that, but just time-wise, it's going to be so hard to defend if they have to add on an extra minute or two beyond where they're at right now. Here comes the defense, though. Sound barrier on the way. C9 trying to push the issue, but they are down a player as they do so. And Gale Force, pretty good response to them here thus far. And here comes Attack Visor out from Torque. Will mow Reaver down out of the air. And they're just going forward. Down goes Devin. And Gale Force, they backed out in response to the sound barrier, came back in, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, Debit completely missed an Earth Shatter there. That's going to be an ult that they don't have up. Torque continues to do work on his Soldier 76. JKW now is one of the Earth Shatter too. It's going to be the ult that they need to use to finish out the game.
Gale Force keeping momentum going, and this is exactly what they needed if they wanted to give themselves a chance of defending, as the Helix Rocket going to snipe Reaver out of the sky. Gale Force continuing to lay on the pressure, and C9 just not getting anything going the last minute in the game, and now they're just chaining deaths on top of the payload. This should be Gale Force's game as they move forward. Devitt, one of the last people on the point, charges right in, does kill Hardblue, drops the hammer. C9 trying to make the most of it, but it will not work out the way they want, and Gale Force, that was about as clean as a last point in Hollywood as you get.
Yeah, I mean, after a slow start to the beginning, where we thought maybe they wouldn't even get the first point, they went through the freeze phase and the final point on Hollywood pretty nicely. So they gave themselves a little bit of breathing room, 7:30 around there. You know, Cloud9, so good on offense on Hollywood. It's still going to be pretty hard.
Well, that's a medium time. I mean, it's exactly what we talked about when we talked about Gale Force. If you look at the last minute of that, it was just Nicholas and Torque all throughout the kill feed. They combined to clean up like 6 kills there towards the end. There was some nice work by JKW on his Earth Shatter too, taking out Adam before Resurrection was able to come in. But as those 2 DPS players go, so does Gale Force Esports. They both had a decent game. 7:32. It's a medium time. It's just the defense is going to have to really hold here. And I think one of their best shots might be trying to just full hold on first.
Yeah, they need to put up at least 2 minutes on the first point for them to have a shot in this map. And realistically, like a 3rd minute would be pretty helpful.
I think once they get about 2 or 3 minutes there, they have to really be cognizant of being okay with giving it up and not going, a full-on wipe and then losing 3 towards the end. As though we've seen when teams do that on defense, when they bleed out towards the end, when they throw good money after bad and lose lives on a point that's already been lost, then you pretty much are giving up the entire Streets phase 2. They need to be cognizant of that and know exactly what their win conditions are.
A big part in Overwatch is knowing when something is lost and when you need to back out. And that's actually, we talked about 2CP in the new comp mode. I think 2CP will come back as a map that gets played relatively often with the time bank feature. That's going to be a really big deal when you start playing 2CP more, where if you overcommit to point A, you'll lose point B outright. And in a 2CP game where it can go back and forth over the course of the game, you definitely don't want to be doing that. You need to be really methodical. You need to drain your opponent's time. And sometimes it's better to just let a point go.
Well, this is an interesting defense. It is, kind of the double builder strategy that they've already tried before. Interesting placements on the early Symmetra turrets, too, is you better hope that someone comes through this hallway so they can get some decent charge, get that teleporter down. But GoMeister's going to be playing that Symmetra. Harblu will be playing the defensive Torb, JKW on Reinhardt, Nicholas on Pharah, Torque on Soldier 76, and Shake on the Mercy.
I foresee great things for you.
You really have to see what this Torb can get some work done.
Turret deployed.
All right, so the game is underway. It's going to be Gale Force on defense, C9 on the attack. We'll see just what Reaver has up his sleeve, but Surefour will be on the Hanzo. And this is where we've seen Hanzo do work here on Hollywood in the past, and Surefour in general do work on Hanzo as well, so let's see if he can do it here.
Nicholas takes out Reaver very early. One of the things that Hanzo's really going to do here is try to hit those sonic arrows, give some eyes, and then let his Pharah go over the top and take out those targets he's spotted.
If Gale Force can play some defense and get picks like that, that's going to allow Harbru to build his ult, and that's going to allow them to stall out the time that they really need to have a chance.
Oh, and Surefour was able to get the geometry, takes out Joe in the building, scatter arrow finding its mark. And C9 now 65 advantage. They're going to be able to move forward as Surefour just throwing out the arrows, hoping that something sticks. He will get taken out in the end. You see Nicholas now coming in over the top, looking for the pickoff on the Reaver. Reaver going to get shielded by Zarya, so back and forth on both sides. Resurrection going to bring up some fallen C9 heroes. C9 slowly but surely getting the picks they need to get this point. Nothing flashy, just good, solid mechanical play.
Yeah, Debit Grego combined there. The Dragon goes through. GoMeister at 100% dies yet again. Never got the teleporter down. That is a crushing blow to your Symmetra play. Dying at 80% really hurt him. Had he been alive, he probably gets that charge going, drops the teleporter, and is fine. And now they're in a rough spot here. They're only back on the second roof as Reavers already take position on the first roof here.
Yeah, Harblu had 80% on his for Torb, and if they had won one more team fight, they had a really solid chance of lasting another 2 to 3 minutes. Now they put themselves on the back foot. They have to get control of top saloon, and they can't play defensive, otherwise they'll give us too much ground.
Thanks for the assist.
Well, it's been the Torque and Nicholas show. They both have their ultimates here. If they can get some good value out of there, again, that is how Gale Force wins games, when those two go off.
Well, you have the attack visor coming in from Torque over the top, immediately mows down Reaver. Reaver's not going to be available here for the offense, and the barrage coming in from the defense as well. Still, though, only 2 kills for the defense. Will be 3, but the Resurrection coming up. The Earthshare comes down a little bit early, and C9 now potentially has the ability to turn this around. Reaver with the barrage over the top, not going to get quite the value he wants, but will take out the Mercy instead. And C9 now, again, it's been a little bit bloody, but they are moving the payload and making something happen here.
Well, it's 2-on-2, and this is a skirmish that Gale Force needs to win. They can't just mess around here. They have to kill Surefour, they do, and they have to kill Debit, and they do. So that was 2 kills that they needed if they want to have any chance of delaying the cart. Phase.
Not only that, Debit just rocked an Earthshatter all alone trying to get 1 kill. Not a big fan of that. I have extremely high value for Earthshatter. I think in a situation like that, just die, just swallow it, because now they don't have an ultimate that would be great to have in combo with some of the other stuff that they have.
Feel the healing beat.
Defense is going to reset back up here on the top. Torque with the attack visor at the ready. C9 still pushing things up, and there's a Graviton going to pull in 3 members of Gale Force. Nothing really too bad happening from that, though. Reinhardt was able to shield them in that entire exchange. And here comes the attack visor here from Torque. Will mow down Reaver, looking for a little bit more in the back. Down goes Mercy, going to get just eaten alive by that Helix rocket, and Torque getting the triple kill.
Yeah, Torque's carrying right now. They are going to switch up, and I think a lot of it is in response to Torque, because Shore4 comes up on the Genji, a good hero against Soldier 76, so they clearly know that there's a problem that has to be dealt with, and his name is Soldier 76, and it's Torque. He's had a great game so far.
And Harblue goes Winston, which I think is a good answer in response, even though neither of them know that's going to be happening. As I think Gale Force has a good lineup right now.
They do, and Nicholas now coming in over the top, looking for Debit, landing in the rockets. Torque takes out Adam immediately in this fight. There will be no res for C9. Here comes the barrage for Nicholas as the finisher, going to pile on, but Reaver on the side of C9 is able to get some good rockets. C9 turns it in their favor despite losing their mercy immediately. And we'll see if Gale Force has it in them to turn us around off the res, but
yeah,
Torque got engaged from C9, and I would say C9 would have won that if not for the very early pick onto their mercy.
Yeah, Torque got the credit for that in the kill feed, but it was Hardblue who came over the top, forced the mercy into a really weird situation, got a ton of damage on her, and Torque was the one able to clean it up. So those switches are really nice. Hardblue's playing a good Winston right now too. Really late death on Grego too. That's brutal.
Yeah,
he's at 92.
The time the Gale Force really needs.
Here comes C9 here on another offensive attempt, and C9, you look at the overall time that they have remaining, they only have about 2.5 minutes remaining, so Gale Force very close to taking this map away from C9. They just need to have one more good defensive hold here in the streets, and that would be it. Shore4 right now looking for his opportunity through the back, laying in damage into Harblue, will take him out, Primal Rager now, but look at what's happening here on the top. Once again, Tac Visor from Torque, mowing down C9, getting some very crucial picks from that, moving on to payload, will take out Grego. Debit swing the hammer, looking for at least something. Will knock down 3 people to the Earth Shatter. Shore4 with the Death Blossom follow-up. And C9 now finally getting through this iron wall from Gale Force. And time-wise, they have about 2 minutes left to get to the end. That's doable for C9. But Gale Force has a real shot of stealing this map now.
Yeah, Gale Force is not even going to contest this hallway. They don't want to bleed players out. They're going to hold very far at last, use the defender's advantage to its full, potential. They need to send someone up top. That's exactly what they're doing. Hardblue and Shaker going up to make sure they're not going to get flanked.
They've been doing a very good job of killing Adam in these last 2 team fights, which has helped them win. They have to shut down Shore4 at the same time though while they do it.
Nicholas is hunting down Adam again. The ultimate going to be used. He uses the ultimate while Adam's still in air. Reaver, though, immediately punishes him for the attempt, and this could be huge for C9. They did get that early pick. They are able to move forward with a little bit more momentum. Debit, perhaps a little bit too far forward, though, gets punished immediately. Reaver, though, in hot pursuit with Shore4, but again, Torque mowing people down, has Tactical Visor up yet again. Mowing down Kai, looking for a little bit more. C9, they have to move with haste. They only have about a minute left. And this is going to come right down to the wire.
And even though huge red is on both sides, they still can't shut down Shore4. Shore4 killing the entire Gale Force team. And there we go. He finally goes down. This might be an opportunity to hold it.
Nicholas seeing the justice raining. The payload is 3.5 meters away right now. This is incredibly close. Gale Force and C9 fighting out, but a big Earth Shatter going to come down here from the defense. JKW setting up 2 members of C9. They are going to live because of the sound barrier, and now this is all sorts of tense here on the payload. Only 30 seconds remaining. Nicholas, the barrage going to come down. Eliminates Shore4, takes out Debit, looks for a little bit more, and Nicholas trying to end this right now. C9 with the resurrection. Both teams on top of the payload. This is incredibly close. Time-wise, 18 seconds remaining. Shore4 with the triple kill. Will C9 be able to do it? One of the last members of Gale Force's eye. Will Hardblue live? He will not. And then, with 9 seconds remaining, C9 caps the map. Oh my goodness.
Shake had res and he died. He flew over the Death Blossom and just got knocked out of the sky.
Adam with a
that
huge
was
spread
so close.
That is probably it.
Heroes never die.
Yeah, Adam had been being hunted by Nicholas that whole time. Nicholas tried to get rockets in on him. Adam was able to escape, and Nicholas finally gave up the hunt on him, was taken out of the sky himself, and just unable to kill him. So close.
They finally shut down Shore4. Then he comes back to life after that res, hits his ult, kills 3, and secures them the victory.
So, just so people know, our timer was a little bit slow in regards to that. The time from Gale Force was 7:32. The time from C9 was 7:30. So C9 won that by 2 seconds. That is absolutely heartbreaking for Gale Force, but still, what a performance by both teams to give us that show. And people complain about stopwatch.
Grego's sound barrier at the very end, what looked like to just be himself, was huge for them to make sure the cart didn't start going backwards, and he allowed the rest of his team to be able to get back to the point and to get the res, and then to get the follow-up with Surefour. So big plays coming out of Grego at the end to win them that map.
I mean, there are no moral victories, but did you guys expect Gale Force to be able to hang with Cloud9 like that?
No, I did not expect that going in at all.
And point A went as bad as it could for them. Yeah. They weren't able to get Symmetra ult up, the teleporter, and then they weren't able to get the Torb ult up. And if they had either of those, and even delayed, of course, for 2 seconds, they would have won that. So very strong showing for Gale Force. I think that we will be going into payload. I personally do not expect this to be King of the Hill.
Well, we'd be going to Numbani then, as that is, it was banned out by Cloud9, so it is not a ban from Gale Force. So I think if they want to go payload, or, well, obviously, if we're going payload, it is going to be Numbani. If they take this, we are going to sell it all on Nepal.
For Gale Force, I really hope they take this just to bring it to the third map of the night. It would be absolutely fitting. But I'm just still trying to recover from that last game. It's been really rare to see maps that are that close in stopwatch. Oftentimes you get within 15 seconds, within 20 seconds, and that's really close. That's exciting. But to be within 2 seconds at the very end, it does not get any better than that.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, Gale Force has shown me a lot tonight. I really like that some of these teams that, perhaps a week ago I would have told you there's no way Liquid or Gale Force or really anyone's going to hang with Cloud9 or is going to hang with Envious. And I think the gaps are closing. These teams have played really well, and it's nice to see that it's not always just going to be dominance at the top, that these teams are getting better. The top 10 teams are now able to compete with the number 1 and number 2 teams. It's really refreshing to see.
Now, Cloud9 is going to be in the offense here. Gale Force on defense. We know Harblue. We've seen him play on Torb, on Hollywood, and Kings Row. It is such a good map on Numbani, but it hasn't really worked for them on either of the times they played it so far. In theory, in terms of the meta, I still think they should do it. For them, because it hasn't been working, and if they had held on longer on either Kings Row in their early games or on Hollywood here, they would have won both of their maps, and maybe they should think about abandoning that. Harblue has seemed to have a much better game on Winston so far than he has had on Torb. And even Reaper's been hit or miss, but I think he's been pretty productive there too.
Alrighty, so we are getting into it. It will be Numbani, our second map here in our final group stage match of the night. C9 versus Gale Force Esports. And I gotta say, I really hope Numbani is as good as that last Hollywood, but that last Hollywood was one of the best games of Overwatch that we have seen. To come that close on stopwatch is truly a treat.
Now, it wouldn't surprise me for Surefour maybe to go Genji here. This has been a good map on Genji on offense. McCree has disappeared entirely from kind of everything. Of course, we've talked about that, and we'll probably see the return. Hanzo worked pretty decently on Hollywood. They were going for the combo. And without Zarya, it does seem like it's much less useful.
Well, Surefour is going to dance around to a lot of different heroes, and we'll see what he actually picks. But the really interesting thing I think that is actually going to happen is that Kai is going to run this D.Va. We've seen a resurgence of her, especially on Numbani, where teams know they're likely going to be going against static defense, whether there be a Bastion or more often a Torb. And we've seen a Winston and D.Va kind of initiation jump, much in the same way they used to use double Winston to take out that high ground, to take out that static defense work in a lot of different situations.
Alrighty, we'll take a look here at the defense as they come out. It's going to be Torque here on the 76, Nicholas on the Pharah, Joe Meister on Roadhog, Harblue on the defensive Torbjorn, JKW on Winston, and Shake going to round things out here on the Mercy. So Torbjorn, again, coming to play here in the Numbani for Gale Force.
Yeah, I think it's the best map for it because it is such a long walk that if you can hold like the first one, you should have Molten Core up on the second push. But Adam will be playing Mercy, Debit, of course, on the Winston. Surefour, you were correct, Slasher will be running Genji, Grego on Lucio, Reaver on Pharah, and Kai on the aforementioned D.Va. This first initiation is going to be huge. They might actually just ignore a turret and try to bully Torque out of this spot up
I
here.
think it's a good choice on Cloud9, and I actually don't like Torque here.
This is a huge engage from C9. They just get right into it. They swarm the upper right part of the defense. GosuGamers, though, takes on Reaver immediately, so C9 already down a player, but still is a very impressive defense as they just rushed right in there. No fear to start things out, and now they're starting to turn things a little bit in their favor as Surefour able to get to the back, takes out Shake. There will be no defensive res coming out here for the side of Gale Force, and C9, Surefour just laying in the shurikens, picking up another kill on the Nicholas midair.
Well, absolutely crucial, though, is that Joe is able to take down Adam, so if they continue to trade, they're going to be in a good position as there's not going to be that offensive resurrection up.
Surefour is just killing everyone right now, though, hitting beautiful shuriken shots, beautiful melees. And just like that, C9 going to take position here on the point, and they should have this now.
Yeah, the reason you run the D.Va and the Winston is to take that spot in the corner. And sometimes teams get confused and they go after the sentry first or the turret first. Really, all you want to do is take this corner, then you can initiate from whatever angle you want. That's what both D.Vas did. And they're doing something a lot of teams are doing now, too. They're sending their Mercy with that combo, too. Because oftentimes a Winston would jump in and get blown up. If you send the Mercy in with both those tanks, they're going to stay alive the entire time.
Adam, Devitt, Surefour all have ult. Reaver's about to have his. Grego's about to have Sound Barrier. Gale Force actually with some nice picks here. They should win this fight. Cloud9's going to back up as far as
No, this is a huge engage coming out from Gale Force. They caught C9 a little bit off guard. They got a good pick from Harblue to start that off, and once they knew that they had that pick, they activated Sound Barrier, or Speed Boost, and went right in.
Thanks for the assist.
Not Sound Barrier.
Yeah, Cloud9's going to look for probably Sound Barrier, Sword.
Well, here comes the Dragon Blade from Surefour. Surefour looking to get in. This was looking for the last time. Trying to chase down Mercy, but not having any luck. Gets taken out by Nicholas in the end, so not the world's highest value Dragon Blade coming out from Surefour. As Torque now in the back, doing what we've seen him do on Hollywood in the past, just mowing people down on 76. And this is going to be another good defense from Gale Force. So Gale Force not letting C9 set the pace of these fights. They're more than willing to just jump in on C9 and try and get the initiative themselves.
It's pretty aggressive. This is not a place where you often see teams hold. Generally, it's around this bend over here, too. But they're actually getting a lot of work done. They're not afraid to bust out ults. Here comes the whole hog.
Here comes the speed boost again from the defense, and they're not going to go all the way in, but Kai will get taken out by the hook. Torque is still in the back doing all sorts of work. Nicholas will go down the debit in the end. But again, look at Torque, still in the back, still cleaning up the kills here for Gale Force. They need to do something about the soldier that's just been murdering them from the back. But here comes the barrage from Reaver, gets taken out by Torque again.
Torque is on a roll. Both Mercies go down. But it looks like Harblue is going to win the battle, and Gale Force Esports wins another team fight in a row. Cloud9 had Sword and Sound Barrier to start off this push on the streets phase, and Gale Force was able to shut it down and then shut it down again, all off the back of Torque, hitting pretty much everything with Soldier right now.
When was the last time I've seen C9 get stuck this far back on Numbani? This defense from Gale Force has been absolutely impressive. Surefour, though, will take out JKW. JKW went a little bit too aggro. The Reaper now in great position to follow up. Soldier having to run away, and now Death Blossom could be on the menu. He's going to get to the back. Here's the Death Blossom going in. Torque just hits him with the Helix Rocket. Oh my goodness, Torque doing it again here for Gale Force. This has been a Soldier 76 clinic.
Yeah, Harblue is also having the game of his life. He has had Whole Hog up about every 20 seconds, it seems. He is knocking people off the cliffs. He's hitting every single one of his hooks. Just great games coming out from a lot of players on Gale Force. They're cleaning up.
Yeah, you're right. Harblue with 2 more kills. Gets ult again. Nicholas cleans it up. And Cloud9 is going to have to reset, and they have not gotten further than the bus on the streets phase of Numbani. Pretty much as good of a defense as you could want from Gale Force, and this is really an awkward position to be playing defense in. Usually teams allow the cart to get around the bend at least before setting up.
I don't think C9 expected to get held here, but they are moving in. Nicholas does go down immediately. Torque, though, coming into the fight, about to have Tac Visor up again. And Torque has been the one that sort of never dies, comes in late, and just does whatever he wants. But he will get knocked down here by the Earth Shatter. Devitt looking for the charge, not able to get in on him just yet. Will end up taking out Joe Meister in the end. Both teams getting into it on top of the payload, but C9 now looking a lot more solid here than they have all game long.
Yeah, Rocket Barrage into a tactical visor. Generally not going to work out. If Shortform and Reaver continue to clean up, they get 5 total kills.
It was a big res for Gale Force, but Cheerfor right now, more than willing to just kill everyone that was just brought up, will take out Harblue in the back, and won't even need to use the Death Blossom here just yet, as C9 now laying on the momentum, mopping up the last few remaining members of Gale Force, and finally the defense at that bend will end.
They're going to try to chase Nicholas down, and they do. Kai making sure there are no survivors, but is pretty much as good of a defense as Gale Force could have wanted through the street phase, which is by far the hardest part of Numbani to hold on defense. If they can do the same thing on final point as they did in the middle, then they have a good shot of holding a strong time. Cloud9.
The problem here for Gale Force is that Gale Force is definitely starting to collapse. Cheerfor just picked up 2 kills in a row. C9 has a whole bunch of ultimates ready and waiting for this last push, so Gale Force, the defense might end for them right here, as C9 definitely has more firepower moving into this last point.
Shaco's got
That
really
being said,
fight.
Torque is in the back with the tactical visor, again mowing down a few people from the C9 side. The damage though is not all that bad. Resurrection will come up here from Adam, and C9, big opportunity here. Cheerfor does still have the Death Blossom at the ready, and he is going to get 2 kills even before using it. Death Blossom coming in on top of the cart, and C9 just like that will cap out the point. So for such a good mid defense coming out from Gale Force, the final point defense was a little bit disappointing.
It's actually so odd because that is by far the hardest place to play D on the map. It's first point or last point is where you see teams, you know, be able to hold 3 or 4 minutes. And for them to be able to hold here for 4 or 5 straight team fights is pretty remarkable. So what could have been a great time ends up being okay, 6 minutes 30 for Cloud9. And Gale Force is still going to hustle for it. And again, as I mentioned before the match, I don't like the Torb pick from Harblue. I think it's actually the right one in terms of the meta to choose, but we've seen it be unsuccessful. And on the flip side, Harblue played so well with the tanks, such as Roadhog and such as Winston, that why not just play to your strengths right now?
Yep. And he's not had great Reaper games tonight, yet he continues to switch on to Reaper. And I guess some of that is because the tanks are doing some work on you, but he was having such an amazing Roadhog game that I think you just stick with the hot hand rather than trying to force yourself onto a hero that's not been going great for you. He definitely got out-Reapered in that last matchup too. So maybe outthinking themselves a little bit. 6:30, interesting time, but I think really they're going to have to get this first point and probably the first 2 or 3 pushes to have a shot at it.
I fully agree, and I do think here the real problem here for Gale Force is that, again, even though they had such a good defense going right after the first point, they actually lost the first point really quickly, so they didn't get enough time there, and they didn't get any point or defensive time at the end. Normally, if you can hold that long in the middle stage, you will buy yourself either a full hold or close to 9 to 10 minutes to attack yourself. Gale Force sort of lost an opportunity there despite having such a good showing, and that's a little bit disappointing if you're a Gale Force fan.
Yeah, well, they are going to be running the Torb on defense themselves. We'll see if it goes a little better for them. That is going to be Debit on the Torb. Reaver will play a Soldier 76. Adam, of course, on Mercy. Kai on the Roadhog. Right now, Shortfort is on a Mei. That may be just for stall-out tactics. First time we've seen Mei tonight. And Grego running the Widow. So a very interesting composition coming out for Cloud9's defense.
I mean, sure. I mean, Mei has been played a little bit on defense, on Numbani first point lately. And I think it's for real. Of course, of how long the first point map is, to have 3 long-range hit scan characters with Mei kind of counting because right-click is like, you know, instant. I think it's not bad. I like it. And really, this is going to be up to Torque to do as much damage as Surefour did with Genji.
Well, I'll tell you the main reason for the Mei here is that the Mei locks down the right path of approach. If they try and go where Kai is right now, Surefour can just wall that off and they can murder anyone that is split off, and it's very, very effective. This is one of the few maps that you will see Mei along with Route 66, so it makes all the sense in the world. But looking at the offense for Gale Force, as they move forward, it's going to be Joe Meister on the Lucio, Nicholas on the Pharah, Harblue on the Diva, JKW on the Winston, Shake on Mercy, Torque on the Genji, and Harblue's just going to go right to the upper right here. Or no, in fact, he's going to go to the upper left. A little bit of a change up. Usually teams go the other side, and they're just going to try and take out the Roadhog right here and right now. Reaver, though, having absolutely none of that, and effectively 2 tanks almost down already for Gale Force.
Well, Harlow actually a nice play there. Is a zero suit kill on Kai. Gets his suit back. Although Shake dies early in this fight, there goes Torque. That's it for the push.
And now what this does for the defense, when you do have Torb and you're able to win the first team fight, one, you get like 500 armor for your whole team, as we see, and then he's almost 80% at his ult. There's a good chance he will not die no matter what happens.
No one can hide from my sight.
And this is rough for Gale Force. If they get stuck here about another 2 or 3 times, I'm not sure they're going to be able to win this game, despite what they did on their defensive run. But here comes Gale Force. They're moving right in. But look at this. Surefour has Blizzard. Is going to get cold in here in a hurry. Will the Blizzard be dropped? Right now, he's going to have to ice block to save his life. Both teams getting into it. Debit's still alive here. Might see a Molten Core. In fact, Molten Core is in progress right now. We have ice. We have fire. But still, 3 kills coming out from Gale Force. Gale Force still making this their own, despite the ultimate advantage of C9 going into this.
They are barely able to hold on. So that Molten Core actually killed Torque before he was able to get off Sword. If Torque doesn't die there, he's able to get it off, maybe he's able to kill Debit in the back. But that doesn't happen, and as you mentioned, they really only have another 1 or 2 team fights before the game is over.
Well, they're going to have the advantage on this next push at least. Torque is going to have his sword up. I think they might even wait for Joe to get Sound Barrier. Nope, they're just going to go right in, but Resurrection is available. Shake needs to stay alive.
Torque right now will bring up the Dragon Blade. He will. He's trying to get on the Mercy. Will cut down Adam right away. That's exactly the pick that Torque needed to get to start this out, but he's going to get taken out by Grego. By the way, Widowmaker is still a thing. And now here comes the default. They have to get out of the way before people get exploded. The turret will get exploded in turn. But C9's not out of this yet. They sort of bent out of it, but they can get back on this point. It's not necessarily Gale Force just yet, but Gale Force making a case, getting the last few kills that they do need to get here.
And they're going to clean this up. They're going to try to stop Adam before he can get the res, and that is a nice zone out there by Harblu to stop Adam before he can get in there. And now they're trying to push very forward, make sure there's no reinforcements coming through this regular spawn point. They got about 3.5 minutes left to finish the map.
With a big kill from Kai on the Nicholas, that's going to be at least a 6-on-5 for a little bit. That gives some time for Cloud9 to regroup. Also, Gale Force wants to push up as much as possible during this phase, because the streets are very long, and Cloud9 right now has opportunity to stall it out.
Still some nice ults to work with an offense, though. Again, that Primal Rage sword is up, Barrage is up.
Nicholas now moving in, speed boost is out. He's going to be looking for a barrage. Has Mercy in his sights, gets right on top of Mercy, drops the barrage, down goes Adam. It's exactly what Nicholas was looking for, got good value in the back, but Surefour on the defense, getting some good kills of his own. Unfortunately, because Adam died before rezzing, this will be Gale Force's fight easily. And that's the power of just picking off the Mercy that quickly in a fight.
Super smart. Now they are going to be pushing into a fully resurrected available Adam, while Shake is only at 24%, but they're making really good time. 2.5 minutes to close this out.
Yeah, Gale Force giving themselves a really good shot and a chance to be able to do it. Now they don't have any ults except for JKW. They're probably going to want to wait until Sound Barrier to have at least one final good push at the very end.
Yeah, I think they're fine just poking, just taking the small space that's already been given to them by Cloud9. They're going to come around this bend.
You see the attack fires are coming out from Reaver here in the back. Not getting as much done as he'd like. The Winston Shield really stopping him from getting deep value, but he is going to get in there towards the end. We'll take out Torque. Both sides getting into it though. 5v5 on the point. Offense going to drop the Sound Barrier. They're out for blood, but look at Surefour. Even though he's getting bounced around, he does have Death Blossom at the ready. So, though, he's getting knocked way back by Winston, of all things, as Gale Force moving this forward, and time-wise, they still have about a little under 2 minutes.
Harblu's been crushing it again on Roadhog. He got a couple kills on the backline all alone in a 1v2. He takes out Surefour, takes out Reaver.
Earthshare, though, coming in from the defense, gonna knock down 3 members of the attackers. Will they get the follow-up that they need? Debit does take out Shake. There will be no resurrection coming out for the attackers anytime soon. And C9 should be able to clean this out. So now, despite a promising start there for Gale Force, they're only going to have about 1 major push left in this game.
Yeah, the cart has not moved the last minute that skirmish was going on. It went back and forth, and at the very end, the respawn point is just closer for Cloud9. So Gale Force doesn't have the opportunity to trade one-on-one. They have to win this cleanly.
Surefour's up top. He's going to drop in.
He's going in for the Death Blossom. Will he get the value? Takes out Shake immediately. Completes the double kill. Going in for Torque. Wants a little bit more. Gets rid of the problem by taking out Torque. And now time-wise, with only under a minute left, there's the team kill horn. This might just be game, because even if Gale Force gets back here in the next 20 seconds, I don't see them clearing out C9 that decisively.
It's going to be super close. They have Barrage, they have Sound Barrier, there is a Resurrection available too. Yeah, they got 30 seconds. It's going to be so close. They need to send someone up through the top, because they're going to get dropped down again.
Nicholas just going in right now. Gale Force knows they don't have much time. Here comes the Barrage. Does take out Devitt to start this out. I'll note, though, for the defense, Adam is still alive. He's going to get the Resurrection up right away here. The offense laying in rockets from the top. Nicholas trying to do all the work he needs to do here. But C9 stalling out on top of the cart. They're not able to kill enough people. Surefour going to clear out the last few remaining people on the cart. Now at the time of 10 seconds remaining, this will be Cloud9's game. It will be their series, but Gale Force made it really close and entertaining nonetheless.
And just like we saw in Hollywood, Surefour with the big Reaper ult play to solidify the win for his team, flanking from up top. No one checks them, and Cloud9 going to be going through as the top team in Group B, along with Liquid.
My tactical visor is charging.
Liquid beat Gale Force in their matchup.
Whew, that was a crazy set. I mean, I gained so much respect for Gale Force tonight, being able to play Cloud9 this close. They're some of the closest sets I've seen played against Cloud9 from any team, so props to them. They're definitely a team on the up and up, and Harblue just needs to play Roadhog all game. He just had such an amazing Roadhog game on Numbani, but some good sets all the way through tonight.
I think Gale Force has a lot to be proud of here, even though they did not take the set away from C9. They made a really good showing, and anyone looking at that, like you said, I think Hex at best, they gained a lot of respect for them watching them here tonight. They definitely have some upsides and some downsides. Like you look at a player like Harblue, really, really good Roadhog play. Reaper play, perhaps not quite as great, but if they can work on some of their downsides and even make their upsides a little bit better, it is going to be good.
Yeah, this is the play of the game. This has got to be his drop down towards the end, about a minute left in the game.
And there it is. It is a drop down towards the end of the game. And that's a case where it gets a little bit sped up on the high bandwidth servers, but Surefour definitely having quite the play of the game.
Surefour with a lot of big Reaper kills.
So that was our final match of the night here in the Alienware Monthly Melee. We will be back tomorrow at the same time for the elimination bracket. All 8 teams that you saw here today will be bringing back. Of course, the top 2 teams from each group will be in the winners bracket. The bottom 2 teams from each group in the losers bracket. Going to be absolutely great games ahead. Definitely hope to see you there. But since we are rolling down to the end, Hex, Slasher, you guys any final words, shout outs, sellouts before we take off here for the night?
No, not really. At Hexagrams is my Twitter. If you feel like following me on Twitter, that's awesome. And then I'll just see you guys tomorrow.
For the matches, I'm pretty sure it is Team A first group versus Team B second group.
Yes.
In winners, right? So it'll be Cloud9 versus Luminosity and Envy versus Liquid, I believe.
No, it'd be a cross group.
Yeah, so Envy
yes,
and they will play Liquid, right? Envy versus Liquid?
Yes.
Okay, Envy versus Liquid.
They'll be up against Liquid, correct.
Okay, and Cloud9 versus Luminosity. Some great games going in tomorrow. A lot on for LG to see how they will do now against Cloud9. They had a little bit of a shaky start in their matches today, I think against NG Red, even though they won that, and against Envy, and we'll have to see how they really do against Cloud9, and we could very well end up being a Cloud9 Envy final.
Alrighty, well, for me, final shout-outs, of course, big shout-outs to Alienware for sponsoring this tournament. Shout-outs to Curse for organizing this and helping make it happen. Shouts to all of you guys for tuning in here tonight. You have made it an absolutely great experience, and definitely hope to see you guys here tomorrow. For me, if you want to follow me, you can follow me Twitter at TempoZP. I usually have a longer spiel for it, but we are going to take off for now. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.